Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Previously, we had a nice old chat with our good friend Gina Lestrade. She's now working for the Scotland Yard of all places. And what's more, she is an inspector herself, shadowing Inspector Gregson. I can only imagine that Herlock had to throw Iris's name around to bully Gregson into letting that happen, the poor man. Well, one thing led to another, and we ran into dead ends, so now we're finding Herlock Sholmes to get a bit of guidance from him, and maybe some answers about Barak van Zieks. And that brings us to this, a wax museum, where a separate, unrelated crime has taken place, it seems, so looking forward to what happens this time. What is this place? Look at all these terrifying scenes. But why are all the people so still? Guillotines, ruthless murderers. I know what I'll be dreaming about tonight.
They're all wax models. They're amazingly realistic, aren't they? What do you think, Runo? Shocked?
Wax models? Ugh! I read about dead bodies and wax once in a magazine about strange phenomena. Depending on how corpses are kept after death, but parts of them can turn to wax, apparently. It's called a adipocere. I don't know how to pronounce that.
Stop talking about creepy things like that, Runo. You're scaring me. Anyway, adipos...
Ag! What now? I've just remembered something else I read. In another magazine about strange phenomena. There was an old lady, maybe a witch, who used to pour molten wax over corpses and put them on display.
None of the exhibits in here are real. They're all entirely man-made replicas.
They can't be. Do you really expect me to believe that? Just look at them.
Oh.
Wait. That doesn't look like the sleepy guard. Huh. There's no way anybody could make models of people that are this realistic. And they're all such gruesome scenes. Wait.
What is it?
Oh. No, I must be seeing things. Wait, was that hand sticking out of there always there? Well, you know how it is, left to right, but wait, did I see we could... No converse. Left to right, then. Is this some infamous murderer?
Yes, called Jane the Ripper. All her victims were young women.
I knew it. You can tell by the way she's holding that knife. Sure sign of a murderer.
Well, yes.
Ah!
What's the matter, Runo?
I've worked it out. I know what she's doing. She's trying to fill that bathtub with blood so she can have a soak in her victim's gore. Wow, that's graphic.
Not according to the information about the exhibit on the little board here. It doesn't mention anything about the bathtub.
Then why is it part of the scene? Really?
Sorry, I don't think it's significant.
I still think it has to be there for a reason. Yeah, that's a bit odd. That big, heavy curtain is in a very prominent position, isn't it? I have a nasty feeling there's going to be something truly terrifying behind it.
Oh yes, that's the famous Two-Spell special exhibit. It depicts one of England's most notorious killers. Do you want to pay the extra fee and have a look?
Pay more money to be even more terrified? Oh, let me think about that for a moment.
It was only a suggestion.
Is this an arm?
It looks like an arm, doesn't it? Maybe one of the waxwork models has fallen over.
You don't think it could be the work of one of the mass murderers in here, do you?
Runo, stop scaring me.
Is it a wax arm or a real one?
Come on, you're always pointing that finger of yours in court. Poke that arm now and see how it feels.
Objection! Guess we'll have to peer behind the curtain after we talk to Herlock. Oh. These models are so well made. I can't tell what's a waxwork and what's a real human.
Or maybe all the exhibits are real people. And when it's closing time and all the visitors have gone home, they suddenly start moving about.
Ugh. Just thinking about it makes me wish it was closing time already and I was on my way home. Nothing for Mr. Sleepy Guard and the familiar scarf? No? It's clearly not the sleepy head from the previous game, so maybe it's just a little homage. Shoe.
Oh, that's a funny place for little ladder.
Oh my god. Say it. Say the line, Ryunosuke.
What is it? Is something wrong?
No, it's just that in Japanese we have a totally different word for a ladder that folds in half like that.
Yeah! We do in English too, you know. It's a step ladder or just steps.
I don't know why this gag makes me so happy, but it does.
So be careful of making assumptions about other cultures, Runo. That's how wars are started.
I didn't realize stepladders were an international point of contention, but the writer makes an astute point. Bless. So, is this Jack the Ripper? Ugh. Is this an example of Western sujigiri?
I don't know what that is.
You know, when an unscrupulous samurai randomly attacks a passerby to test his sword. All right. Yeah, I'm familiar with this concept. I first learned about it because... Okay, this is going to sound out of left field. There is a Pokemon move that some Pokemon can learn. I believe it's False Swipe? Or maybe it was Night Slash. One of those, False Swipe or Night Slash. That's the English name for those moves, but in original Japanese it was, well, the word for samurai cutting down a random passerby citizen just to try out their sword. It's really grim to be in a Pokemon game of all things.
I still don't know, no. But actually, a waxwork samurai would probably be hugely popular. Could you model it, do you think, Runo? Doing that sushigiri thing you mentioned?
Well, I do have a sword, but I've no intention of testing how sharp it is on a human subject. For now, at least. What do you mean, for now? For now? That's ominous. Alright, we've seen everything. Time to go home. It's the great detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Mr. Sholmes has his own wax statue in here? Really?
Well, he is a world famous after all.
It's an uncanny resemblance, isn't it? It makes my skin crawl to look at it.
I know. But look, Bruno, you can kick this Hurley and he doesn't move a muscle.
Oh, she knows. What was that? Oh, the Winston pain. You can't go around kicking the exhibits, Iris. Wait. It just moved, I'm sure. Oh, what is this Looney Tunes bullshit? Oh, I love it. And not just a little bit, either.
Huh? Really? Did it?
And look closely. There are beads of sweat on the face of this waxwork model. Shall we move on, Iris? Over there, look. There's a great murder scene to enjoy, much more appealing.
Hold it!
My dear fellow, I take exception to your recoiling in such a manner, as if you've seen something truly abhorrent. Mr. Sholmes, I knew it. Iris, what possessed you? I strictly forbade you from divulging my temporary waxwork secret to Mr. Naruhodo. Temporary waxwork? What do you mean? And that kick! Could you not have exercised a little more restraint? You winded me.
But Runo has something he needs to ask you.
Ah, a question.
And I thought you'd probably be getting bored, too. So here we are.
Well, I can't deny that your timing was impeccable. A mere 2 minutes more being stationary like that, and my great brain, upon which all my success has been built, would have turned to wax. Thank goodness we arrived in time. Indeed, in many ways, the pair of you just saved the world from an unimaginable loss.
Oh, Hurley, you do like to talk nonsense, don't you?
He could know something, it's true, about Lord Van Zeeks and what happened in the past to change him. Now that you're here, let's take our time. How can I be of assistance? For you're in luck, I'm suddenly quite taken with the idea of conversing. Oh, well, actually, I'm in quite a hurry. And if my eyes don't deceive me, I believe something is afoot within the walls of this very museum. A most fascinating case, if I'm not mistaken. Really? Moreover, I have a strong suspicion that it is related to the matter about which you've come to me now. But how could it be? We shall speak again presently, my dear fellow, but for now I must return to my work. What? Back to being a temporary waxwork exhibit? Huh. Well. Alright. Anything to say about the armband? Mr. Sholmes, about this. As you will see, I'm rather busy at the moment. If it's advice you seek, come to my office tomorrow and I shall be happy to help you out. Shall we say 3 per item as a consultation fee? That's 2 hours of gas, that is. Mr. Sholmes, would you have a look at this newspaper? You've been into my room and helped yourself, have you? Let's not turn this into a scandal, shall we? Well, considering I've already read it, one thing immediately strikes me. This paper is old news. What would possess you to show me this? What's done is done. You must distinguish, my dear fellow. Distinguish the old from the new. There are some conversations you wish you'd never started. Alright, do you know this material? No. I'm interested about this. Do you recognize this mechanism? Nope. Okay, I'll be genuinely surprised if there's anything about the, schematic. Well, not really a schematic, just a diagram. Nope. Fair enough. So, let's speak. What is this place? Madame Two-Spells came to London from France 3 years ago, I understand. Since she opened this little waxwork museum last year, it's enjoyed great popularity in London. There are museums like this in Japan too, but these displays are something else. I mean, they aren't made from actual real people, are they? The extreme realism of these waxwork models is a particular secret of the Two-Spells family, they say. They earned renown during the French Revolution for waxworks of victims of the guillotine. That sounds grim. The gruesome scenes were portrayed with such realism in the expressions of the faces of the condemned.
Apparently, the sculptors would make the models directly from the corpses, right there at the site of the executions. That really turns my stomach.
That's just one of several legends about the Two-Spells family. Whether there's any truth in it, I couldn't say. But anyway, this museum houses models of famous people from all over the globe. Nevertheless, the most popular area of the museum, by quite some margin, is this House of Horrors.
House of Horrors?
Of course, visitor numbers are dwindling now as a result of the Great Exhibition, but people usually flock here to see the exhibits of some of London's most vile criminals at their most gruesome work. Naturally, most of the miscreants portrayed here were sent to the gallows, so they're even stiffer now than the models of them. Ha 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 ha!
Have you heard of poor taste?
My dear fellow, the public live for poor taste. They yearn to be shocked.
So the hideous exhibits in here are... They're all portrayals of real events that actually took place.
Is it just me, or did the temperature in here just seem to drop? Anyway, I advise you not to think too deeply about what you see here.
Oh, he's back to being a waxwork, is he?
I'm reminded of that one scene early on in One Piece where Zoro is very nearly, about to turn into a wax statue, and in his final moments he strikes a cool pose, because he'll look like a cool statue then. Classic Zoro, man. Anyway, what do you mean by a temporary waxwork, Mr. Sholmes? Exactly what you see. I'm part of the exhibits here, catching these criminals in the act. Catching them? Every half an hour, I home in on a different killer in one of the displays and adopt a new pose to ensnare him. When members of the public come for a closer look, I offer them my hand to shake. For a shilling, I'll happily allow them to take a photograph with us.
Us? Does he mean him and the waxwork murderers in here?
But why, Mr. Sholmes? My dear fellow, isn't it obvious? For the money. He really roared at me there. Very fitting for the House of Horrors. As it stands, I may struggle to pay this month's rent, and I have the ravenous iris to consider.
Oh, Hurley, I'm so hungry.
What, you're not sorry? If push comes to shove, I shall have to ask you to do your bit, Mr. Naruhodo. What's he threatening to rope me into now? So, with that in mind, how about a photograph? As a special treat, you may have your pick of the murderers and scoundrels in here. The choice is yours. Maybe some other time. Humph. Remember, Mr. Naruhodo, ignore me at your peril. Back to being a waxwork again. Is it just me, or did his final remark there sound a little like a curse? It was definitely a curse. Well, what is it you'd like to ask me then? Actually it's about Lord Van Zeeks. Ah, our friend Mr. Reaper. How did you find him? Well, I trust. And so I filled Mr. Sholmes in about everything I'd learnt. About Lord Van Zeeks, about Professor Hairbrain, and about the strange coincidence that they had been at university together. So I'm wondering what it was that happened to make Lord Van Zeek such a different person.
I was sure that you know, Hurley.
You said there was something going on here in this exhibit hall before, that something was afoot, and that you believed it was related to what I wanted to ask you about. Mr. Sholmes? He suddenly clammed up. Well, it seems we've reached the unavoida. Okay. Greetings. I'm not sure what I expected two spells to look like, but hot damn, that is a wizard. Hello. Where did she appear from? And what's she wearing? Could she look any more mysterious?
I hope you are appreciating my museum.
Sorry? Have we? Mr. Sholmes, do you know this? Not again.
My apologies. I am Esmeralda Two Spells. This is my museum of waxwork.
Oh, you're the Madame Two Spells? Bien, sir.
Though only 26 years young, I might add.
Is that significant somehow?
I'm a madame in name only. It adds a certain je ne sais quoi.
That I know how to pronounce. Right.
Firstly, I must apologize for my waxworks, or rather one waxwork in particular.
That'll be Mr. Sholmes then.
I was led to believe he was a great detective, but he seems unable to settle.
Oh, sweet lord! Boiling wax, huh? Okay.
Next time you move from your designated exhibit, there will be toil and trouble.
Oh, she owns it. Oh, that was great. Oh, man.
She sounds deadly serious.
That's a problem. How am I supposed to ask Mr. Sholmes about Lord Van Zeeks now?
Let's not forget what Hurley said before. About something being afoot right here in the museum, I mean.
Yes, I know, but...
I'm so curious. I want to know what's happening here.
Haven't we got enough on our plate already? Well, first things first. Have another look at him. He's not even blinking now. He really is a perfect model of a waxwork model.
I know it doesn't always seem like it, but Hurley's quite a perfectionist, in fact. He practices at night sometimes instead of sleeping. Not blinking, I mean.
Well, practice makes perfect, I suppose. I think he just sleeps with his eyes open.
I've just realized, though, seeing him standing over there now. He looks like he's that murderous accomplice, doesn't he? Or henchman, even.
That's news to someone by the look of it. Present. Madame, there's something I'd like to show you.
Yes, what is that? I remarked on it myself immediately, and I've been very curious since.
Well, it's actually the mark of a defense lawyer in the Empire of Japan.
Oh.
That.
Not quite as interesting as I'd hoped.
What exactly were you expecting from an armband? Could I show you this?
Oh, how fascinating. Is this made of wax?
No, sorry. It's a piece of evidence.
Why would you want to show me this?
She can only wax lyrical about wax, is that it? Nope, nothing here. Surely nothing about these two, but just in case. Fair enough. God, pointy wizard hats are so cool! I love them. That's a cool one. The waxworks. Did you make all these waxworks, Madame Two Spells?
I did. I am the third generation of waxwork artisans, you know. Gosh! It was my grandmother who began the tradition in my family. Her fortunes were checkered, living through the turbulent times of the French Revolution as she did. Though that is when she acquired the savoir-faire that leads to the astonishing lifelikeliness.
Look, I'm a weeaboo. I know how to pronounce some Japanese things. My knowledge of France and French is non-existent.
All these waxworks really do look as though they're alive. In fact, they look more alive than Hurley. What you see exhibited here represents the most atrocious of London's criminal past. All the waxworks were created in the presence of the real people on which they are modeled, in the hours immediately following their executions. That is the secret to the extraordinary lifelikeness.
That sounds terrifying.
All walks of life have similar challenges, I'm sure. To carry out one's trade par excellence, one must go to extraordinary lengths. My exhibits are a reflection of society. I create only that which the public wishes to see.
Ugh. Why couldn't the public have wished for something less horrifying?
Do not fear.
Sorry?
This room is the only one in the museum with such a macabre theme. I do hope you'll explore. There are models of famous singers, actors, politicians. Something for every taste, I hope.
It was Iris who dragged me straight in here, come to think of it.
Sorry, perhaps I should have eased you into things.
What's the situation with that?
My temporary waxwork model. He approached me some days ago, you see, with a business proposal.
Oh, what sort of proposal? My dear madame, what these sparse exhibits need is the addition of a world-famous great detective.
Or words to that effect. Naturally, I am well aware that Mr. Sholmes is widely known in London as a talented detective.
It's great detective, actually. He's very specific about it.
Yes, the creme de la creme. So I was keen to come to some arrangement with him, of course. But sadly, we were unable to agree terms.
Let me guess, someone wanted to charge an exorbitant price for his services. For a mere £500, I will dive into your cauldron of wax this very moment. Oh my.
Or words to that effect.
Mr. Sholmes might have overdone it slightly with the sales pitch.
Regrettably, the museum has a shortage of funds at the moment due to unforeseen circumstances. So we came to the current arrangement instead.
Surely he doesn't need to do what he's doing, though, does he?
I would think not, but he was very insistent.
I have a 50-shilling problem that must be resolved by the morning.
Or words to that effect. It's the pawnbroker, that's what it is. He must have something to redeem.
Is the consulting detective work not going so well? Tell me about your foot. I wonder, could I ask you something? Buy-in, sir. I'm just curious, is anything going on in the museum at the moment? Some kind of incident, perhaps?
Whoever suggested such a thing to you?
Oh, well, it was your temporary waxwork over there who mentioned it to me a little.
Oh, he's disappeared.
A wax model is a work of art, not some tawdry object for trade? Ah! There you are.
Leaving the exhibit again when you should be working? Do you wish to be melted down?
My dear Madame Two-Spells, save your reprimands. There are more pressing concerns. The wax can wait. It's our ideas about your current problem we must throw into the melting pot instead. Personally, I would advise you not to involve the police.
Why ever not?
She's turned as white as a sheet. Because you have at your disposal a great detective whose services you may employ for a mere 50 shillings. Though please be aware that I prefer... No, I insist upon payment in advance.
Very well.
Oh.
Let us see if the great detective is able to live up to his name, shall we?
Before I engage my analytical processes, I must ask you to clarify something. Aha. What, pray, is behind the curtain?
That is the Two-Spells special exhibit. There is an extra charge to see it.
Ah, the special exhibit in the House of Horrors. It must depict a special killer then, I presume. Would you be so kind as to draw back the curtain, I wonder?
Ah, absolutely none. There is nothing amiss behind there.
Nothing amiss, madame. What about the arm protruding ominously from under the curtain?
Ah.
I strongly encourage you to allow me to see what lies beyond before the situation worsens.
Yes, very well. I will draw back the curtains, but only a
soup con. I'm just going to stick to literal, blunt English. Number 139. I must confess I peeked behind the curtain earlier. The Two Spells special exhibit is a very bleak graveyard scene indeed. And yet, somewhat surprisingly, the waxwork killer one would expect is nowhere to be seen. What does strike one, however, is the portly gentleman lying peacefully on his back on the floor. Well then perhaps, Mr. Sholmes, that man on the floor is the ruthless killer himself. I'm afraid not, my dear fellow. He's a perfectly ordinary London gentleman. Not even a waxwork, in fact. I knew it. What? As skillfully made as these waxworks are, they are always distinguishable from real humans. So allow me to present my two conclusions. The first is that a sizable business transaction has been taking place in this special exhibit.
Why would you say that?
And the second is that the aforementioned transaction is linked to a serious crime.
Ah!
She looks as pale as candle wax.
I don't understand.
So, Madame Two Spells, as you've agreed to my fee, you shall now have the pleasure of seeing this famously great detective and temporary exhibit at work.
Do I have time for this in the video?
I'll try my best.
The waxwork's fate.
To begin with, we must ask ourselves what exactly is afoot here in this museum. The answer is revealed by the bundle of banknotes protruding so helpfully from your bag. In my estimation, some £200.
That is all my own money.
So what does this large sum of money reveal? Ah, not so much as the involuntary glance you cast, it would seem, Madame Two Spells. Ah, nice pun. Yes, the answer lies where your eyes now fall. The significance of the £200 is revealed by that public notice. Waxwork for sale? Your business has hit hard times, it would seem. In short, you sold the infamous killer, the centerpiece of your special exhibit, for the sum of £200. None! Now, let us explore the next curiosity with which we are presented. Who is the portly gentleman stretched out so peacefully on the floor? It would appear the man has suffered a severe shock, the cause of which is clearly known to you. Ah! Unfortunately, madame, keeping secrets does not appear to be your forte. What dealt the man such a shocking blow was, of course, the £200. What's the thing on the other side of her waist? It would appear that you twisted this gentleman around your little finger most effectively.
What are you suggesting?
He rashly agreed to purchase the waxwork for the sum of £200. Only when he came to hand the money over did it occur to him what an extortionate amount he was paying. But the money was no longer in his hands. And the result, the scene we see before us. He collapsed in shock. Yes, the killer in this special exhibit fetched a killer price. We can only pray that the gentleman's dreams are not plagued with regret. Waxwork location? The question that arises then is what has become of the waxwork that changed hands? Let us consider that problem for a moment.
You cannot possibly.
What immediately strikes me about this conundrum is the young man standing over there. Who is this fellow? To find the answer, we need only observe his neckerchief. Such as is worn by policemen as a secret sign to fellow members of the force that a crime is being perpetrated. Yes, this young man is an undercover policeman, currently investigating this museum. I know him well, in fact, it's Sergeant John Clay.
What are you talking about?
The man's quite a celebrity. He received triple accolades at last year's policing awards.
But...
Next we turn our attention to the old man sat before him with a particularly unsightly visage. I saw that tag on his handkerchief earlier. I've been watching closely and he hasn't moved a muscle. Almost, in fact, as if he were a waxwork.
But you...
Your reaction only confirms my suspicions, madame. I noticed it at once, of course. Observe. The telltale sign that instantly proves whether or not this old man is a waxwork is the obvious price tag. £3, a tragically low price, you might say. That's the price of the scarf. Though perhaps the going rate for aging waxworks riddled with cracks. Oh my god. And yet you sold it to the portly gentleman for an exorbitant £200. The sort of plucky behavior that's sure to attract the attention of Scotland Yard. Isn't that so, madame?
I do not...
Yes, the waxwork you sold has already been seized by the police and remains in their custody as we speak. The old man must be reunited with his grave in the special exhibit, and not a moment too soon. Thus concludes Sherlock Holmes's great deduction of this horrifying puzzle. Bravo. That was his worst one yet. Is that the ready? I see I've stunned you all into silence.
You have, Hurley, you have. And you've obviously upset this young lady in the process. Her cauldron looks awfully hot.
Looks like melted cheese. If I could just bring up one point, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, the notorious Naruhodo 1 point. I'm all ears, my dear fellow. According to your deduction, then, the special exhibit featured this old policeman. So that would mean that he's a particularly ruthless murderer, wouldn't it? The killer policeman, Uttermole. Sorry? It was a mysterious series of murders that rattled the capital only last year. The police rushed to the scene every time, only to find the culprit had disappeared into the ether.
And it turned out the culprit was a policeman himself, a senior officer by the name of Ottermole.
So you mean that's who the sinister-looking old man there is supposed to be? Indeed, it is a particularly grim face, is it not? Unforgettable, in fact. Yes, I remember that odious countenance only too well. Oh, not that word again. But is it 200 pounds a lot of money for a wax model? It would be enough to afford one of the latest steam carriages, if that puts things in perspective. So, it is quite a lot then.
Is there anything else you wish to add? Before I melt you down?
That bubbling wax is looking more and more ominous.
Ugh, the smell of all that molten wax is starting to worry me.
Mr. Sholmes did more or less just accuse her to her face, so I think I might have to call on your assistance here, Iris, if that's all right, to make some minor corrections to the great detective's great deductions.
Of course it's all right. We'll soon set things straight.
Well, let's get started then, shall we? Before Madame Two-Spells vents her anger. Just what I was waiting to hear, my dear fellow. So, Madame Two-Spells, in accordance with our agreement, you shall now have the pleasure of seeing the famously great detective and temporary exhibit at work. Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. To begin with, we must ask ourselves what exactly is afoot here in this museum. The answer is revealed by the bundle of banknotes protruding so helpfully from your bag. In my estimation, some 200 pounds.
That is all my own money.
So what does this large sum of money reveal? Ah, not as much as the involuntary glance you cast, it would seem, Madame Two-Spells. Yes, the answer lies where your eyes now fall. The significance of the 200 pounds was revealed by that public notice. She definitely looked in this direction, it's true.
But I'm not sure she'd sell any of her waxworks even for 200 pounds.
Oh?
She must pour her heart and soul into making them, don't you think? Over and above the wax. If it were me, I wouldn't sell them for anything.
For that much money, I would. But it sounds like that makes me a bad person. Well, anyway, I wonder if the 200 pounds could have some other significance.
Let's follow that furtive glance again and see if there's anything else that could explain it.
Right. Oh! Hello, note on the wall. Interesting, but look at that last. Waxwork for sale. Would anyone really buy models of mass murderers?
I think I'd rather have 200 pounds in my pocket.
Exactly. You could buy one of those brand new types of steam carriage. That's what I'd spend it on if I had it, no question.
Oh, I'd buy all the herbs in the world.
There must be another explanation for the money. We need to keep looking. It seems this well-dressed gentleman is alive after all. Just not alive and kicking. And he's not a waxwork or model of a mass murderer.
I'm not sure I'd pay 200 pounds for him.
I don't think the man's up for sale.
Well, anyway, it was a silly place to put him. Other museum visitors could easily trip.
I don't think the man was put here on purpose either.
What's that note doing pinned on the wall there?
Oh, yes, let's see. Dear Madame Two Spells, we've taken the prisoner from this room. The price for his safe return is 200 pounds. Oh, you were out the door to pay the ransom, weren't you? Have the money ready by noon on the 23rd of October.
What?
This is... It's just like the sort of thing that's left behind when someone is kidnapped.
Yes, it's a ransom note.
Exactly. That's gotta be it.
Take that!
The significance of that 200 pounds is revealed by that ransom note. Quite so, and we must congratulate these criminals on their inventiveness, abducting a waxwork. 200 pounds is no small ransom fee, yet you clearly intend to pay it.
The model in question has special importance, so I put together all the money I have.
In summary, then, the 200 pounds you have in your handbag is ransom money. Now, let us explore the next curiosity with which we are presented. Who is the portly gentleman stretched out so peacefully on the floor? It would appear the man has suffered a severe shock, the cause of which is clearly known to you. Unfortunately, madame, keeping secrets does not appear to be your forte. What dealt the man such a shocking blow was, of course, the 200 pounds. So if the waxwork was kidnapped, where does that leave us in terms of who this man is?
We could just ask him when he comes round.
I think the point of this exercise is to understand the beauty of the deduction process, Iris.
Yes, you're right. Hurley's trying so hard we mustn't let him down.
Well, there's little doubt that he suffered a shock, that much seems clear. But in that case, what's Madame Two Spells trying to hide? Let's have a closer look around. Wait a goddamn second. She has 3 hands! What the fuck? Huh. You know, I could have sworn I actually did see this earlier. I thought, that hand looks weirdly big, but whatever. I actually did see that earlier, yeah. What the hell?
So she was prepared to pay all that money to get her waxwork back again. It really must have been a very special model.
Of a mass murderer. Just how special can a model of a ruthless killer be?
Well, anyway, we can be fairly sure the man lying on the floor didn't take it.
I suppose we should leave him in peace. Madame Two Spells has very long hair, doesn't she?
Yes, but you couldn't tell looking at her from the front.
You know, it looks rather like a whip, don't you think? The sort of whip that could have floored the gentleman with a single crack.
That seems a little far-fetched, even for you, Runo.
Oh, there's a Franziska joke in there somewhere.
This is just Madame Two Spells' right hand, isn't it?
Yes, it must be. I can clearly see her left hand, after all.
Oh, but wait a minute. This is a left hand as well, look.
Don't say such creepy things, Iris, please.
And it seems very stiff, too. In fact, it's really hard.
You mean it's made of wax?
Take that!
What dealt the man such a shocking blow was, of course, the waxwork hand. Indeed, with a solid waxwork limb, one could deliver a very substantial blow.
How could you?
The hand protruding from the bottom of your cape. It ought to be a right hand, but closer inspection reveals that, in fact, it's a left hand.
Ah!
And somewhat masculine as well. In other words, it does not belong to you, madame. It is the hand of a waxwork model.
Kya!
Yep.
Some of the visitors to my museum can be troublesome. They meddle with the exhibits and cause damage.
So you mean that arm?
Yes, this gentleman saw fit to try to remove it as a souvenir.
Huh, no small keepsake. Like taking a whole branch of a cherry tree when you go to view the blossoms.
I am afraid I had to teach the man a lesson.
You confronted the man and tried to take the arm back. And the result, the scene we see before us. He was knocked unconscious. A point we may need to revisit later, but for the time being we have our conclusion. Yes, the killer in this special exhibit has been kidnapped. The waxwork's fate? Kidnapped. Alright, well here's topic 2. And we're just about at 1 hour, so this is definitely the best part, best time to end things. So I'm definitely noticing the trend. McGilded, Stinky, and now this dapper fellow on the floor. There's definitely a running trend of the upper crust of London getting into some serious shenanigans. As far as I'm concerned, it's all related. But how? I still stand by my theory that a wax duplicate of Mr. Stinky was used in some manner at the Grand Exhibition to fake the teleport in some way. And maybe it's just as simple as 2 spells being paid to make the duplicate, you know? Like, if someone rich came along, I'm sure she has her price to do a commission work. Though I will admit, nothing I've seen here so far directly confirms my theory. But it's still possible, I'd say. A wax duplicate of Mr. Stinky. Absolutely. It's possible. I won't rule it out, not just yet. And, well, boy, it sure was frustrating that Herlock Sholmes seemed so ready, just seconds away from beginning to spill the truth. And yet, 2 spells had to come in and interrupt us. Well, hopefully we'll learn the truth before the trial begins. What do you want to bet that Herlock will, like, get the money for his services and then immediately dash off to the pawnbrokery to buy, or to take back whatever it was he left behind. And we won't learn at all. He'll just completely forget the conversation with Ryunosuke. Oh, it's gonna happen. Oh, mark my words. Ah! I need to know. Though I am still wondering about Herlock's phrasing. When Ryunosuke explained everything about Van Zieks and why he needs to know the truth of Van Zieks' past, Sholmes said it was time for the unavoidable. There's definitely a big secret that he's keeping. God, did I really nail it with my realization or guess that Sholmes might be of the Van Zieks family blood? It's possible! That's the craziest thing. It's possible! Be really cool. I like the idea. I like the idea a lot. But yeah, really like Madame Two-Spell's design. As I said, I am a sucker for those wide-brimmed, tall wizard hats. It's cool. Wizards are cool. Like, when it comes to fantasy aesthetics, you got your warriors in plate mail, your thieves in leather, but nah, man. I'm about those pointy wizard hats and flowing robes and shawls. So cool. Oh, and a lawn staff. Like a real lawn one that they use as a walking stick. And they point it at things and make things explode. Yeah, that's cool. Oh, I can't wait for Dragon's Dogma 2 to come out. I need it. I need it so bad. I recently put out a video on my channel reacting to a new trailer for it. Go check that out, because I'm going to be Let's Playing Dragon's Dogma 2. I'm hyped. It comes out in March. 3 months. I'm hyped. But no, it's closer to 4 months, actually. What were we talking about? Oh, right, Ace Attorney. I'm Zephyr the Jester. This has been more of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll catch you next time. So until then, please take care.